What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the final Overreaction Monday on this wonderful Super Monday, February 12th, the day after the Super Bowl. I am the host of tonight's show, the final ORM of the season to wrap up 2023-2024. Mo Murphy. I got with me Rob, Jeff, and Chris are in the building. What's going on, fellas?
Living it.
I'm excited for the draft.
Wore my special Mahomes jersey, my signature Mahomes jersey.
I'm ready for a 5-13 season, baby. 5-12 season.
It's crazy though, because we was having that conversation like right before we went live, but I'm like, it's like as soon as the Super Bowl ended, like everybody kind of woke up and was in off-season mode. The conversations around the draft and it wasn't really prospect focused though. It's just like trade ups and trade downs and what should teams do. Like you're already thinking about that. Like, and the game was just played last night.
You're not going to start talking prospects until pro days and combine.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. But the immediate conversation was just
and his team is Cruz's team has there's a lot of buzz going around for a team that has a second pick. So it's for him. It's like, all right, Super Bowl's over. What is my team going to do? Because this is going to this move, whatever the Commanders are going to do, is going to change our franchise. Either keep going downhill or potentially finally going uphill. So for Cruz, for me, like my team has a 6th pick. What do we do? What is the arc of our franchise? Because we could either be going, back up like we did last year, or we could be going down and now we're like a new coach, new quarterback, a new running back, new GM, and it's like, oh, again, another rebuild. So, and for Jeff, his Dolphins, he's intrigued because, like, what direction are we in? Are we going to be a Super Bowl contender, or So there's a lot of and we know about the Cowboys, So we all have like we're all ready for this the Super Bowl to be like, all right, and then get ready to be like, what are our teams going to do to get to this moment? Because we all want that for our teams.
Yeah, some of us may never get it. Really, most of us here may never get it. But what we do get is the Super Bowl is guaranteed to happen every year as long as the NFL exists. And 2 teams are going to play, and 2 teams played last night. And obviously, we know Kansas City, back-to-back champions, Patrick Mahomes, 3rd Super Bowl MVP. Second half, played lights-out football. Played out of his mind, made every play. I think what didn't get talked about enough was the fact this dude has 66 rush yards. Like, I think, his legs being a factor is like, and we know he's not Lamar Jackson, but Mahomes can move though. Like, he knows how to maneuver. He knows how to operate. It's like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow knows how to run the football. He's not fast. He's not going to get you 20, 30 yards, but he's athletic enough. He gets to his spots. He has enough speed to get to his spots. And as a quarterback, his spots is just positive yards. If I want to get 5, I can get 5, and I know how to get 5. I know the angles. They're just like, they're really smart runners, and they are athletic enough to run, get on the outside, and maybe create a separation for some of these defensive ends at the right angle. And they understand that. But Mahomes, on a 4th down, decides to run.
That literally, like that play, that was a great play call. Forget about the run. The play call was genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it was literally just a look up. Yeah. Let me go. Like, it was all it was let me look up, act like I'm about to throw this ball just for the running back to go and open that hole for me to go right through there. And as soon as it did, it was McKinnon that made the block. It was Kelsey and McKinnon. Kelsey and McKinnon, as soon as that hole opened, he went up and then he just tucked and ran.
Yeah, and Patrick said that, that was an option to Kelsey on that play.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If Kelsey's got blitz, he threw it, and if he didn't, he ran it. Like that, it was but that's the magic of Mahomes, that he makes that decision so quick and makes the right decision. Like I think a lot of things happened last night that were so good that like we overlooked. Mahomes played so good that we took it for granted. Like we take all this for granted. He played a great game. Like from start to finish, like he played a great game. Both defensive lines played really good. You know what I mean? Like they really determined the game, and Mahomes was just a tiny bit better, not a tiny bit better than Purdy, but like he was able to overcome some of that as to where like the one big play when it's and it goes into overtime, 49ers are moving downfield. Looks like they might get a touchdown. and they get pressure on Purdy, and that's a play where the guy on the other side of the field probably gets a first down or a touchdown of it, and Purdy throws it away. They kick the field goal. Like, it's little things like that were the difference in the game. Like, Chris Jones played an awesome game, no sacks, but he affected, 20 plays. I thought Fred Warner played a great game. Like, all the good players really played a good game. Kelsey actually played a really good game. He wound up with almost 100 yards, leading receiver, like all these things. Jennings, can't say enough. Jennings was almost a Super Bowl MVP. Like, it was a well played game by a bunch of really, really good players. Like, it was honestly, it was played so well, and the refs kept out of it that I think in general, we're overlooking what a good game it was, because fans have become so cynical that when it was over, everybody was like, I'm supposed to be complaining about something, but I don't know what it is, rather than just being like, that was awesome. That was my takeaway from the game.
That's where we're at now. Like, it's always something to complain about. But like, my thing is, and like, I think I just want to lay this out, like, to put it out there so we touch on it later. But I think, to me, what I learned from last night's game is, like, a lot of teams are about to run into these problems. These winning teams are about to run into these problems. And what you're going to find out is it's Mahomes, and it's maybe one or two other guys that could take the roster that he had, which is an elite defense, and we're going to sacrifice our weapons offensively, because defense do win championships when the quarterback can make plays no matter who's playing wide receiver. And so you saw that. But, like, you can't copy that because you don't have Patrick Mahomes on the side. And there's only maybe one or two other guys that, like, if you have a guy you feel that confident in, that you can try and copy that and actually win games. Like, the Bengals are about to run into that. They might lose two of their three receivers. Like, you might have Jamar Chase, and then who knows else, but you still got a superstar wide receiver, but you might start losing. Your running back's a year older. Like, you about to start running into these problems too, and you win a lot of games. You lose guys to free agency. They
pay their Jordan Williams soon.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So these teams start, and the Chiefs did, and they won back-to-back. Like, they lost Tyreek Hill for money. You know what I'm saying? And it looked like
trash tackles too. They don't have good tackles. But their tackles suck.
Like,
they weren't very good last night.
No, like they haven't been good all year. Juwan Taylor is like, he gets penalized every time, and they won the Super Bowl with
Nick Bosa played a great game last night.
Chase had
played well.
He had some moments, so
he's all right, but he just don't know how to play football.
He's so undisciplined though. Like,
he just don't know how to play football.
Yeah. He still has to learn.
But the thing about, like, even like the thing about last night though is like Mahomes, Purdy doesn't win if he's on the Chiefs. Like, if you switch quarterbacks, Purdy don't win that game.
If you switch quarterbacks, it's 50 to nothing.
They lose to the Dolphins.
But I'm saying, like Mahomes wins, but Purdy don't win that game. Now, if you sub Mahomes, I think Josh Allen could probably be a guy that could win that game, and maybe like one other guy that probably could win that game outside of.
I mean, we just saw Lamar kick the shit out of San Francisco. Like, Lamar showed that he can win that game. Like, he just beat the hell out of them not that long ago.
Yeah, but and the Chiefs
lost to him in the playoffs.
He lost, but he lost. But I'm saying, like, we just saw him beat San Francisco up.
Yeah, he did lose to the dude, and that's what's going to be like.
In San Francisco.
That's where the Michael Jordan conversation is starting, is because it looks like Mahomes is about to be the guy who's about to be the reason why some great quarterbacks don't win championships.
Yeah, Mo, I like that. I like that analogy you put in the group chat, that a lot of great players about to not have rings because of him.
Yeah, like a
lot of Carmelones, a lot of
Barkley.
Bro, that's what it looks like. Like, it looks like the Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence. Who else are the pretty boys?
Don't put Trevor Lawrence in there.
Like, I'm just going down the list of starting quarterbacks.
Don't do that.
I'm just saying, anybody that's in the playoffs, the Jalen Hurts, like anybody that the Super Bowl. Justin Herbert may never win one. Like, who knows if his team's ever good, but he may never win one. Like, you don't know, because
Justin Herbert might be Zach LaVine.
Nah.
Yeah,
Nah, come
he
on.
might be Zach Levine.
Bro, he's got
Stop it.
He
bro.
could be Zach Levine.
He's
I'm
got
just
to
saying,
coach
all
now.
that talent, and then it's like for nothing because you just not as.
But I just don't
impact.
like. I think right now, bro, we're literally like, and obviously the main focus, when especially with football, when it comes to championships, is obviously like this is quarterbacks that aren't winning. We don't care about the great wide receivers if they don't win one. Honestly, you never look back and be like, oh, he should have got a Super Bowl. It's only like quarterback talk. But there's going to be a lot of guys that damn near do everything except win a Super Bowl because of Patrick Mahomes. And Michael Jordan did the same thing to people. Like Michael Jordan did the same thing to a lot of careers in the 90s. Like a lot of guys are not as respected as they should be, all because they did everything but win the championship. Literally went. Pretty much everyone that we talk about went, and they faced Jordan and they couldn't win. Like that's what happened. Now it's like these guys are gonna go. Brock Purdy done went. Jalen Hurts went.
Did we have this conversation when Brady won 3 out of 4 as far as GOAT talk? I don't recall. I mean, I was young. I mean, we're all younger.
But
Jeff,
there was a
Jeff. You were older, and you'll probably understand. But was there GOAT talk with Brady?
Because then it was comparing him to. Back then, it was Montana. They compared him to Montana. They're like, "Wow, he's already got 3." Like, but here's the thing: the difference in Brady was before 2007, before the Randy Moss year. Brady's like just. It was his. He didn't play like Mahomes does.
He wasn't even.
So everybody's like, what a winner, but the numbers weren't quite there because
he didn't win MVP till that was the 07 was his first MVP, right?
Yeah, and that, like, okay, they won the first Super Bowl, like awesome field goal, and then they won, another one. Okay, came back field goal. Then they beat the Eagles. Not a bad game. So, but like
grew up in the huddle.
yeah. So like everybody was like, man, this is like, could he win? How many? But then 07 came and he went, berserk. And then from then on, it was like, okay, now he's not only like winning, but now he's like,
I think that's the crazy thing is that like it took Brady 2007, so year 7 to win his first MVP. Mahomes did it his first full year.
Yeah, as far as talent at this age, it's not even in the ball. I'd say if anything, Mahomes right now is more like what Marino was at that age, as far as like
talent,
as far as like he's the best player, but then Mahomes is also winning. So it's like
Mahomes is what we thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be.
But there you go. There you go.
He's literally because the difference is, bro, like Mahomes, obviously we know he didn't play his rookie year except that last game. He started when they already had booked a playoff spot. But like Mahomes walked into the league, first year starter, 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. First year. Just walks in the league and throws. So like it was different. They go to the AFC Championship. Obviously they lose to Brady, we know. But like, and then he goes the next year and throws 4,700 and 40 touchdowns. So you're like, oh, this ain't a dude that's just like playing on just a great team. He elevated the Chiefs. They were a playoff team before he was the starter. They were consistently good. They was an Andy Reid team. They was really good. And if they
quarterback away,
they'll win. They'll win. They were a playmaking quarterback away. They got him. And now look, this guy came in, walks in, and takes a team they would have been consistently a first-round exit, maybe compete for the AFC West, win every once in a while, first-round exit, win a playoff game if they're lucky. To now, they're a dynasty. They're dynastic.
And Mahomes is underachieved because Mahomes should have won that game against New England. Like he had that game won, and a penalty, like it got away from him. And then he was up on the Bengals big time 3 years ago.
Yeah,
he would have. He should at least have one. He should at least have 4 right now.
Well, we could flip that and be like, well, he should have maybe only have 1 because the 49ers blew 2 10-point leads versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we could flip it around too and be like, he can only have 1.
That is. I will say that's fair, but like in all 3 of his Super Bowl victories, he was down double digits though. So like the thing is, that's just what he does. That's how he wins it. He's been down double digits.
But I'm saying we can always flip it around too and be like, well, like we could do that with Brady too. Like Brady can have 1 Super Bowl technically.
Yeah.
Or he can have 9. There's a world where there's
fair.
both. So fair. Like we have to understand that like he was down like and all that. So
he's now
it doesn't take away what he did because he's that dude. And like it doesn't matter if he's down 10.
He's 3-1. They counted him out last year when Tyreek Hill left. Like, okay, that was the biggest part of the offense. people were like, Mahomes about to get exposed. He's not about to be as good as it looks. When you take away Tyreek Hill, they go and win a Super Bowl. And last year, their offense didn't sputter the way it did this year. But then you go into this year, they offense start to sputter. They got guys that you're like wouldn't even make really winning teams rosters. They can't catch a pass to save
Darius Toney on their team. Like
they can't catch a pass to save their life. So you're like, yeah, man, nah, just not this year. And then they sneakily get good at the end. They win the AFC West quietly, become what were they, the 3 seed? They become the 3 seed. They have to play Miami. Then they end up having to play the 1 and 2 seed on the road. On their way to get to the Super Bowl, they have to play their 1 and 2 seed and then play the 1 seed.
And then beat the 1 seed in the NFC.
That's I don't know. I don't want to say that's
pretty good. That's a pretty good run.
I don't want to say that's arguably the hardest. I don't want to say it is the hardest, but that's almost basically the hardest way you can win a championship. I don't know how many other quarterbacks have done it. But any quarterback that has done it that way, that's like the hardest way. You played both 1 seed.
Eli Manning's done it that way.
Yeah,
Mahomes
our run
way.
was
Joe Flacco.
There's a few that have done it. That's why I said I couldn't think of names, but I know he's not the first to do it. But doing it that route is like
that's tough.
Yeah,
those type of championships.
Especially when you never played road playoff games in the playoffs, and you don't like. I'm sure he wasn't rattled, but like you don't know that feeling though because you've always had home playoff games. So
that was the question. Like, can he win?
That was his biggest obstacle. Was like I've never played a road playoff game, so I don't. I played road playoff games on the road. I mean, games on the road, but never all. So how do I, and he figured it out real quick,
Patrick Mahomes has more playoff victories than Peyton Manning right now.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah. And we know like Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Like period. He's not but he's he's in that conversation of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And like Mahomes is past him. He ain't even 30 yet. And that's what everybody talk about is this type of success. And you talk about all the all-time greats, all they like accolades started when they were 30 and on. This dude is matching
like John Elway
now.
John Elway didn't win Super Bowl till he's 36, 37.
Now this dude is winning. Yeah. This dude is winning all these. He's got 2 MVPs, 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs already. Ain't ever played nothing less than an AFC championship game. He's 20.
Quarterbacks play till they're 40. 41 now.
These dudes are playing 20 years now. He's only
his prime is going to be for another. Realistically, it could probably be another 10 years if his prime. The way if he keeps his body in good shape, which we assume he will, and he doesn't have any catastrophic injuries, he could play another 10 years and still be the best quarterback in football. Brady did it, and Brady's nowhere near the athlete as Mahomes, and Brady was the best quarterback for 10, 15 years.
Brady took care of his body, and he didn't run as much as Mahomes. Not the Mahomes.
But Mahomes is not getting blasted like Lamar or like any of these other running quarterbacks. So like he knows how to run, which is smart. He knows when to slide and all that.
But Mahomes taking the hits that like when Lamar get hit, Lamar prepares a lot of times to be hit. Mahomes is taking those hits where they're taking them cheap shots when he's sliding, and those are the worst type of hits to take over time because they're not calling late hits or whatever on Mahomes. Like they're letting people get away with it. So he taking some of them sneaky shots that beat up on your body over time a little bit. He might want to kind of regress a little bit from running that ball sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, you can only control what you can control. He runs, he gets the yardage he needs, he slides. If you can't help if a defender comes and dives at you a little late.
He's a big boy too. He can handle it, but he knows how to run. He's just a smart. It's crazy. It must be a great feeling knowing that we're always in a football game. It doesn't matter what's happening in the game. That you're calm because hey, we talked about this. We talked about this throughout the playoffs with them. Like the feeling of that defense knowing or whoever on the team is like, we good, guys, we good. It's going to be all right. He's going to take care of us. And it felt like every time he had the ball, and it seems like every time he has the ball, it's like he's going to tie the game, get the ball, like against the Bills, all those crazy games they had. Like, oh yeah, 2 seconds left, he'll get it. Like it's just crazy how he time after time after time he gets it done. Like if you're a 49ers fan, there's no point in that game. You're like, oh yeah, we got this. Like, no, there's no point. You're like, oh my God, I don't care how big the lead is. Like 15, like, what are we doing? Like, why are we? And it must be a great feeling. Shout out to Chiefs fans because they get their enjoy this because this is something that is special, and you don't get to see this much more. I mean, Patriots fans felt it for 20 years, but I mean, this is what a generational talent, and it's crazy that people got on him in the draft because he didn't win football games and he played in the air raid system with Cliff Kingsbury. It's crazy, and now he's arguably he could go down as the greatest of all time if he continues his pace. It's fun to watch. I don't want to compare him. Oh, I want to be in the moment and enjoy that we are witnessing something special. Like,
I agree.
This is great. I love this. This is great to have this. And now, like we talked about this before, like now we got guys chasing him. That's fun. Then now we got to see who can Josh Allen get there? Can this guy get there? Joe Burrow, can he get there? Can Lamar get there with two? It's fun because now you got King Kong and everybody trying to fight, got to get the King Kong and try to be the king. I think this is great for football. This is great for sports. And, it's awesome, man.
We don't thank enough. We really don't thank enough for this. Like the league, the world, Disney, whoever broadcast, CBS, Fox, everybody should really thank the Bears. Thank the Bears for Mitch Trubisky, because I'm going to tell you, I don't care how talented.
He just got cut too today. By the
I don't care how talented Mahomes is. He was not going to be this if he went to Chicago. They didn't have the right coach.
Jets or any other team.
Where he was able to go to with Andy Reid. And so, like, basically, a guy who, if he reaches his potential, will be the most talented quarterback of all time, lands with the perfect head coach for him. So it was a match made in heaven. A lot of guys a lot of great quarterbacks that play great in college, or you see some of them in college go the first round, do not even get that luxury of being drafted to the perfect situation. And Patrick Mahomes did. But when guys do, sometimes they don't take that opportunity and fly with it the way Patrick Mahomes did. They don't win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They don't go to nothing less than AFC championships. They don't go 6 years.
He's a great coach
on the road in the playoffs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so even guys that do get a match made in heaven, like, you still have to be great to have this type of success. We've seen guys who we thought quarterback head coach combinations were perfect together and really all-time greats and still never saw this type of success. So, like, this speaks to how great Mahomes is, on top of Andy Reid, too. It was just a match made in heaven. 2 great guys.
If we're going to talk GOAT talk, my boy Andy, Big Red, he might be the GOAT, man. He might be the GOAT. He might be the greatest of all time.
He's definitely good.
He ain't
his
that
coaching. He has a good coaching tree. He knows how to develop quarterbacks. He's probably the best quarterback developer maybe in NFL history.
But you know what he had?
Quarterbacks are really good that he's had. He turned Alex Smith into a damn near MVP level quarterback at one point.
All pro 1 year. Then Alex Smith.
He took Vic out of jail, made him an all pro. Made him a pocket quarterback for a little bit.
That is true.
McNabb was a all pro quarterback. Kevin Cobb was for a second.
Kevin Cobb got paid because of him.
He got paid. That's good job, Andy. You got to do $70 million just for being on it. He's great. Oh, Big Red. I mean, he took that hit yesterday from Kelsey. And you know what? He didn't make a big deal about it. He's like, it's just.
No, sometimes he understands.
He heated a moment, and that's
the thing. Not to get sidetracked, but the people who were commenting on that.
Oh, there's people Twitter, so butthurt about that. Imagine if they lost. Oh my god!
I even retweeted. I was like, the people complaining have never played
football,
any meaningful football game, let alone the damn Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I won't say play meaningful football, but I say this though, like, the people that are complaining, you don't understand what winning is like. And the reason I say these dudes have won so much together, bro, they are a family. A lot of these guys have been together the whole run.
Brothers, yeah.
So, like, when they go at it, it's a family. It's like, that was like Travis Kelce going at his uncle for a second, like, real quick. You didn't piss me off, but it's like, Andy Reid, he knows his personality. That's his dude. That's like, you could tell even the way he celebrated with Chris Jones. Like, anybody who thinks Chris Jones is leaving the Kansas City Chiefs over some money, you tripping. The way Andy Reid loved him and hugged him after that Super Bowl, Andy Reid will walk up there to that front office and tell him, pay him. You are paying that man. We are keeping him. Like, they love him. And I think when you talk about greatest head coaches of all time, I think over time, What happens when great head coaches retire, right? Especially now. All these players now have more platforms and more interviews. So we're going to get to hear how loved Andy Reid was. And that's
here now already.
that's what I'm saying. But now, like when he retires and we really get to throw him his flowers, and you really start appreciating a great career, you hear all that. And then on top of that, like it's going to be like how much everybody loved Andy Reid, where it seemed like, you know what I'm saying? Like it seems like Julian Edelman is going on like a tour of trying to help Bill Belichick's like how his personality was.
Reputation. Yeah.
He comes off more as players tolerated him because they were winning. Like they tolerated the situation and tolerated Bill Belichick, where Andy Reid's gonna be talked about like, man, I loved him. Everybody, I loved them.
You guys think that Andy Reid's gonna coach much longer? Because it kind of feels like it's not gonna.
I don't think he's coaching next year.
And who takes over?
I would have no idea. But here's what I would say is
I think you
the enemy outside. You know the SpongeBob thing. The meme.
The enemy ain't a head
look
coach.
at everybody.
The enemy
outside
don't want to. The enemy's
looking outside. Everybody having fun.
The enemy don't want to be a head coach.
The enemy would coach Mahomes, and I think
if the enemy wanted to be,
he's
a
gonna
head
be an
coach,
OC or
head
something.
coach. He don't want to be a head coach. Like I don't know why we think that the enemy wants to be a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator.
I think he would for the Chiefs, like because of the relationship with Mahomes. I think he'd be able to succeed because you just.
But I don't think he wants to.
Man,
he would be a head coach if he wanted to.
That's gonna be interesting to see the succession plan because, like, you don't.
Well,
want,
what I want to say about
I used to think that, Jeff. I used to think that, but after seeing this past season, I don't think it's his choice.
But you don't think Matt Nagy would flourish? Like, bro, I don't care what he did with the Bears and Mitch Trubisky, bro. At the end of the day, you're head coach with Mahomes. Like, and you're learning under Andy Reid as the offensive coordinator. Like, you are getting passed down something. Like, and we talk about Andy Reid's coaching tree. So, like, if Matt Nagy was the successor, like, I know he failed once in Chicago, but come on, man, who hasn't failed in Chicago? Where he's getting groomed to be blessed in the greatest situation that you could take over. He's going to be born on third base. You don't think he'd do it? You don't think he'd do good enough to at least stay on third base? He may not get a home run, but he might stay on third base, which makes the Chiefs contenders every year.
Right, but we just got done saying, that Patrick Mahomes would not have been this had he been drafted to the Bears, who at the time their head coach was Matt Nagy.
But it's the Bears organizationally. It wasn't. Nobody's been set up. They've never. What has it been like? We're still counting. It's been like 60 years since they had like a good quarterback. Like we talk about Rex Grossman. Like quarterbacks go to die there. That's why people don't want to see Caleb Williams. Like you don't want to see a Caleb Williams go to Chicago because there's never been a real successful quarterback. And if you think this guy can be great, you don't want to see him rot in Chicago. That could happen with Mahomes. Had everybody have known this dude was going to be this dude, then whoever was going to take him was going to take him. It would have been the Bears who took a quarterback first, and he wouldn't have had this kind of success. But what also that jumpstarts your career. Everybody ain't going to play. It ain't going to be like Belichick. He got with Andy Reid too late to play with him for another 20 years. But what he is going to take is he done won so much. He understands it. He done learned so much from Andy Reid. They're going to make sure his match with him is they both understand they're on the same page, and Mahomes will be able to carry it himself. Like, it ain't going to be about the head coach if Mahomes keep winning.
Yeah, I agree.
Just get him a guy he's comfortable with.
Here's what I would say last night. Andy Reid was the better in-game coach last night.
Oh,
like, I thought he coached damn near a perfect game. He was the only one that knew what was up in overtime. I'm seriously, why? Like, my wife immediately said, "Why would you take the ball?" Like her immediate reaction was, why would you take the ball if a defensive touchdown can beat you? If a defensive touchdown can cost you a Super Bowl, why on earth would you receive the ball? Like, it's, I mean, like, just like, it's the little things, though, that are the edge when the games are this close. And
Mo, what did we say before in the chat? The little things. The little things, man.
Y'all read what Chris Jones said? Like, when Chris Jones talked about it, he said, bro, we practiced this in training camp. We worked on the possibility of if we're in the playoffs, what we would do. The scenario for us, if we won the coin toss, we knew we was going to kick and we knew we would have an opportunity to score. And if we kicked it and they scored a touchdown and we came back and scored a touchdown, we were going to go for two. Like, he broke it down and was like, they was prepared and worked on it that week for the just in case. It was always it was put in their game plan and in their thought process. But they thought about this when the rule change happened, and they go into the season knowing about this. you got these players on San Francisco talking about, I had no idea. I thought, you know what I'm saying? When we scored, the game was over.
And that's the difference between a great coach and a pretty good coach.
Like, there's no way your players should not have been aware of the situation, especially like your
Super Bowl.
If your third quarterback said he wasn't aware, I'm like, who cares?
It's what happens when your head coach is an offense coordinator. This is what I'm saying. This is what happens when your head coach and offense coordinator.
True, so since we're on the topic of Kyle Shanahan,
let's kick his back in. Let's
go for it.
Boy, bro, I've said this. I've said this for years, and he was doing everything but winning Super Bowls. So he was partly making me look stupid because I was trying to say he's not a great head coach. He was given to when he has great coordinators, he is. He's a great offensive coordinator. You match him up with a very good head coach, and they will win a lot of games. They will win. So they might even win some Super Bowls if he's in the right spot and you match him up with the right head coach. This dude blew it again. You're up 10 throwing the ball with Brock Purdy, but then you say you don't trust your quarterback. Like, people are saying, what if he didn't trust his quarterback, but he's throwing the ball up 10? If you don't trust your quarterback, even though the logical thing was still to turn around and hand it to Christian McCaffrey, if you don't trust your quarterback up 10, you hand it to Christian McCaffrey, bro. They were throwing the ball. They were not milking no clock. That was like mistake number one. That was the first mistake of like, yep, and this is why the Chiefs are going to have a chance. This is why the 49ers aren't going to run away with it, because they're throwing the ball. They're going 3 and out on passes. Wasted. They had one drive, bro. You know how much time went off the clock before they punted? 13 seconds. You got the ball. Going against Patrick Mahomes at a 13-second drive. 13. 3 and out passes. You cannot do that in the Super Bowl up 10 points. You cannot have under a minute drives. You got to put together 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minute drives consistently by running the ball. And they were able to run the ball early. And they walked away from it. And then the Chiefs got some momentum. The players started making plays on the defensive line. They were kind of pushing Trent Williams and them around in the trenches. And that's when they was able to take advantage. They had the momentum, and they knew they had the better quarterback, and they knew they had the guys to get it done. They knew they had the guys to get it done when it mattered. And when you have that type of confidence, knowing that everybody fit, there's not a single person, and we know that 1-5 is going to get the job done, they never batted an eye. And you could tell. You could tell. And it happened, and then it came down to it in overtime.
And that's why, like, I know he's getting a lot of credit, but Steve Spagnuolo still is not, to me, getting enough credit for the game plan he put together and what he called.
And then playoffs, in the entire playoffs.
It was very much a bend don't break defense, which he's pretty much a staple. But the rushes,
it's bend don't break. It's
the rushes that he called when he called them were absolutely perfect. Like that's if you are an up and coming defensive coach and you're striving to be a defensive coordinator, like, work for him, learn from him, watch the way he calls defenses. He put on a clinic yesterday because they gave up yards. They gave up yards. They gave up, big plays. They gave up a couple touchdowns. But when they needed it, when Niners were in the red zone, I think they were on like the 5 or 7 yard line. He calls that all out blitz, and the way he's able to disguise the coverage, disguise the
he's been doing this since
rushes.
07. He's been doing this since the Giants.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. I'm going to tell you, Rob, where I'm 100% with you, but I'm going to tell you where he benefits from. We've seen him do this before, so we know this dude is a great defensive coordinator, right? Like in 07. But think about it. Like in 07, that team, they committed to how good they were going to be defensively. Eli Manning was able to make some, but that defense, they had hella players on that defense.
3 pass rushers.
With this Chiefs team, they was trying to make sure they committed to the success of Mahomes so early. They were offense heavy, and they were kind of lacking the defensive talent. That's they were winning shootouts more often than stopping teams and winning low scoring games. Then I think Spags walked in the building and was like, all right, look, we got 1-5 now. We can go all in on this defense, and I can give you a top 3 defense. I can give you Patrick Mahomes. You have Mahomes. I could give your guy a top 3 defense, but we have to fully commit. 1-5.
Got physical with the receivers.
You don't need
they bully them.
Hopkins and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. You don't need all these million dollar wide receivers. Just let this defense. So when we get through these little cold spurts, our defense shows up, and I know he'll make the plays. And that's what they did. Look how many good players they have that they drafted. They drafted a lot of these guys that are on that defense.
They quickly put together in 1 year. And most of that secondary are second year guys and have 2 Super Bowls. Like to rebuild a defense after the Cincinnati loss is incredible what they've done. McDuffie played great last night. Reed plays great. It's really been amazing.
Cornerbacks need.
And I don't think these dudes are system guys.
He almost had a bad penalty. That penalty almost screwed him over.
I think they're really that good. Like they just all their draft picks, like the guys that they've drafted, Karlaftis, all these guys are like they drafted and they immediately like they have 2 Super Bowls. Like you said, like it's
amazing what they did.
The starters
after the comeback, Cincinnati made that comeback, kept them from going to the Super Bowl, and they were like, okay, the next year they win the Super Bowl with a bunch of rookies. The next year after that, they win the Super Bowl with a bunch of second. Like it's amazing what they did and Spagnuolo did, and I agree. That's a good point. Like Spags is really the hero of the game or of the playoffs,
the season,
of the
like
playoffs.
The
he had Lamar Jackson seeing ghosts, and Lamar played a great season, and he was flustered in that game.
He made Lamar's best pass completion to himself.
He had just
I think that 60-yard touchdown was his best, but
he held Miami. He held Miami to 6 points. Like then goes and he has, then
the weather helped too because Miami they would.
But like Miami fumbled that when they lost to Buffalo. Like they fumbled that opportunity to be in their stadium. You know what I'm saying? And
look what they did last night. Like San Francisco's like, we're gonna come in, we're gonna beat you up, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. They didn't. Debo didn't beat nobody up. Ayuk didn't beat nobody up. Kittle didn't do squat.
Kittle had 1 catch, I think, for like 4 yards.
He had 2 catches for 4 yards.
Yeah, they didn't. They got like Chiefs were the more physical team last night, and amongst having the best quarterback.
Ayuk, Samuel, and Kittle had combined 8 catches for like 90-some yards.
Yeah, and they'll be out here flex like everybody's like, oh, they're gonna beat you up. They didn't. Kansas City was aggressive. They play hard. They tackle
5
well. Like
fumbles too.
Really impressive playoff run by this Kansas City defense.
And you know what the difference is, man? Like I know, like on the defense, they're young, but just where you need the guys that have been there and done that, you have them. Yeah. Like you have a vet in the secondary to help those young guys out that's been there, done that on this run. Like you have guys at the right position that have been on this run damn near since the beginning. Like they were, Travis Kelce was here since the beginning. Obviously, since drafted Mahomes. Like Chris Jones been here. How many years he been in Kansas City? He been here like the whole time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he was
like 2017.
Yeah,
he was in the first Super Bowl.
So he's been here the whole time. Like obviously the coaching staff, and they've stayed consistent pretty much with the coaching staff the whole time. Like they've kept everything together, and nobody from the coaching staff is going to be a head coach, which is crazy. But like I think why? I love it over here. I'm getting way more over here when I'm winning. I'm worth more when I'm winning. You get paid more as a head coach, but I deal with less headache for less money, and I'm worth more in this city of Kansas City while staying here and being.
Well, I hate to circle around, but what makes all of this true is Mahomes. I'm just being honest. A lot of teams have really good defenses, but they don't have Mahomes, so they win 6 games. Like Cleveland's defense is better than Kansas City's, but they don't have Mahomes. Or we're talking about Cleveland win the Super Bowl. I mean, that's exactly what makes everything possible. That's what makes everything possible is to have that guy that can get you. Like, let's not forget that Kansas City, didn't they lose 5 of 8 at some point during the season? I mean,
Mahomes didn't have a great regular season to his standards.
Purdy dwarfed Mahomes this year.
Purdy was an MVP candidate while Mahomes
Purdy had one of the great,
which is crazy to think. It's crazy to think that. But
that's what makes everything go, because if we're talking about the Chiefs playing the same game but losing to Miami or Buffalo, like we're just talking about every other team. We're talking about the same way we talk about Jacksonville, the same way we talk about the Chargers. It's the difference in having 15 be able to make up the mistakes. And that's why we talk about guys like Josh Allen that haven't done that yet. it's time for Josh Allen to like clean up some of the mistakes, you know?
Yeah, Brock Purdy got to go, by the way. He got to go.
Oh, okay.
He got to go. I'm sorry. And like, I know, because here's the thing. This is my problem with Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy got to go, man. Either that or this is who you going to be, because you've been, we know, we understand, we've seen it, we get it. You can make an average quarterback a really good borderline all-pro in your system. We see it. We get it. You made Jimmy G damn good and he got to a Super Bowl. I've seen CJ Beathard put up nice stats in your system. He didn't win a lot of games because of injuries. But I seen Brock Purdy obviously go to an NFC Championship and now go to a Super Bowl. I get it. But guess what? If your system is so good, as great as we think it is, that you can take an average quarterback and make him borderline all-pro, then why are you afraid to jump on these opportunities like when Tom Brady went to Tampa? Oh, you could have had Tom Brady. Like when Aaron Rodgers was made available for trade. Oh, you could have traded for Aaron Rodgers. Now, I understand Rodgers got hurt, but I'm just saying, if your system makes that, then what are these all-pro guys going to do? They're going to go win the Super Bowl in your system if everything's set in place. But guess what? If Kyle Shanahan does that, and then he still ends up making these terrible calls that he ends up making, his play calling remains terrible and he chokes away, he gets no type of grace of being the absolute choker in the system. Because now if you do get a Tom Brady or if you do get an Aaron Rodgers, if you say you're a quarterback away and you finally go get that quarterback, you got to win or else you fail.
That's fair.
And so it'll be an ultimate failure. Now we could question, like, man, maybe Brock Purdy isn't the guy, and they're still in the situation for 4 years. You could kill him for it. But guess what? Because until he has that guy that we're like, that's a dude, he always gets that cop out to like, he's never had that guy. But I think he's running from getting that guy because there's been multiple guys available. Now now people are mentioning Kirk Cousins, and it's like, bro, he had an opportunity to get Kirk Cousins a few years ago. Well, we thought it was a possibility, and he didn't go get him. And I'm like, now we want to revert back to Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles.
No, because they were gonna go get him, and then New England called and offered Jimmy G for a bag of potato chips, essentially. So that's when they were like, because they were most definitely gonna go after Kirk Cousins, which I think they're gonna do again this time. But at what point do we start thinking it's time to move on from Kyle Shanahan?
Today.
If he gets another quarterback and fails
today.
I mean, I think you could, you very well could, and I don't think it necessarily be the wrong decision. But I think here's what I think. I think you need to commit. Hey, man, we need to bring a quarterback in. If we got pick 30, we got pick 31. We need to draft one. I don't care if it's
Mr. a veteran quarterback. You don't need to draft one because that sets you back. You need the veteran quarterback. You need a quarterback that can come in and
you got a quarterback that can get you to a Super Bowl. But I don't think his ceiling is not high. Where if you go get, let's say, and I just say Spencer Rattler just because of the talent, right?
Spencer Rattler's not going to get them a Super Bowl, man.
His ceiling, I'm talking about his ceiling of for the next 5 to 7 years. Because Brock Purdy, at the end of the day, yeah, you might not win the Super Bowl, but Brock Purdy is not. If you stick with him and you got to pay him, he ain't talented enough that you can afford a team to try and win the Super Bowl with paying him $40 million.
Daniel Jones again.
You can't afford. He's not talented enough for you to have to pay him $40 million. So if I get a guy, I kind of reset that clock. If I can find a guy and his ceiling is higher, and let's just say we talk about how talented Spencer Rattler is. If he can take an average quarterback and make him be,
I have not talked about how talented Spencer Rattler is.
No, isn't Spencer Rattler like a 5th-round quarterback? Why are we talking about him?
Yes, Spencer Rattler ain't an NFL quarterback.
He's not going to. Spencer Rattler going to be good, man. I'm on the Spencer Rattler train. He's going to be good. But if he can take these average quarterbacks,
I want to dig into why Mo thinks Spencer Rattler is going to be an NFL quarterback.
Man, hey, it's a light.
Why ain't he a college quarterback then?
The light skinned guys, we up, man. Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, hey, Spencer Rattler coming in.
Riley said, look at Riley saw Caleb Williams and was like, oh, you know what?
Yeah, we lose.
I like this other light skinned brother.
we take the L with Caleb Williams. He paints his nails, but anyways, like I ain't gonna get into that. But so like. But if they fire Shanahan, everybody's like question is like, who's the upgrade? You're not going to upgrade if you fire Shanahan right away. It's not going to be an upgrade. It's now going to be a process. You're not
just need to fire Shanahan. You just need to. You're in the same position you were 4 years ago. you don't want to be in the same position you were 4 years because that's what you just lost the Super Bowl to the same team.
Does Kirk Cousins win you that game last night? That's my question.
I think so.
They had an opportunity.
You know what?
To win the
I'm
game.
with Cruz.
Win that game last.
I'm with Cruz. I think Kirk is taking a bad rap. I really think so. And I've been one of those people just because he used to be Washington, so it just came along with the territory. But I think Kirk gets him a Super Bowl. If you put Kirk in there,
Kirk wins that game last night.
It's not like
he trusts him more. He trusts Shanahan would trust him more.
No, bro.
You could not have 3 catches. Tebow would not have 3 catches. He would get his guys the ball.
Is Kirk Cousins a better quarterback than Brock Purdy?
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you this though. Y'all saying that, I hear you, but y'all talking about I just watched the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes beat Tua, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, but you telling me Kirk Cousins is that comes in and wins that game.
Kirk Cousins with an all-pro tight end, an all-pro wide receiver, an all-pro offensive, an all-pro running back.
He had that.
It's different.
Yeah, Kurt's already had that and didn't do anything with it.
Where did he have that?
Justin Jefferson? TJ Hawkinson just went nuts this year. What are we talking about? TJ Hawkinson
out for the whole year.
The last 2 years, Kurt's had a
before Hawk got hurt, he was playing like an all-pro tight end. He was literally playing all-pro.
It's not his fault. His defense gave up all those points against Daniel Jones.
Kurt throws bad passes in crunch time. Like he throws it behind the sticks on fourth.
I'm sorry, bro.
Is Kirk Cousins a better quarterback than Brock Purdy right now?
I don't think so. No,
he is. He's 1,000% better. Not about 100% better than him.
His stats.
Brock Purdy isn't better than some of the bottom tier quarterbacks. He just on a really good team.
Kirk Cousins' season stats looks exactly like Brock Purdy's did this year if he was the quarterback. It will be the same. It would be the exact same.
Yeah, but we're talking about right now coming off a blown Achilles, a 40-year-old coming off a blown Achilles.
Even now, coming off a blown Achilles, I don't think he was. Even before he got hurt, he wasn't boundaries better. He wasn't bounds and leaps better.
You lost a touchdown. You lost by 6 points, or you lost to a touchdown in overtime. You don't need to be leaps and bounds better. Exactly. You need to be one or two plays better.
Patrick Mahomes.
But it's not like San Francisco got blown out last night. You need to be minuscule better.
What I'm saying is, I don't think Cousins wins the Detroit or the Green Bay game. So I don't even think it would be a conversation. We've never seen Kirk Cousins play as good as Purdy did the last 2 games to get him to the Super Bowl. We've never seen Cousins do that. He always fails in those situations.
Purdy had to lead a comeback.
Kirk Cousins ain't coming back from 17 down in the playoffs.
Purdy not trash, bro.
Kirk Cousins came back from 31 down one time, and you know who
he had the biggest comeback in playoff history. What are we talking about here? In the playoffs. What are we talking? He had the biggest comeback ever.
And the biggest in the regular season.
I don't care about the regular season.
I don't care about the regular season.
All right, but he still had the biggest comeback ever in playoff history.
He can't
come back.
I'm just saying between the 2 quarterbacks, one of them has been to the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. And one of them's had about 17 more chances.
I think Kirk is just enough better.
What you guys are saying is
if Kirk Cousins is in that game, the San Francisco 49ers are holding their 6th.
Yeah, but I'm saying he don't get to that game. He's never got to that game.
He would get to that game.
Bro, we gotta stop. Bro,
but he hasn't.
I think Kirk Cousins is good, bro. I'm not saying, but I do not think we're literally sitting here talking about how great Patrick Mahomes is. And we're like, all right, Brock, they need to upgrade. We talk about how hard it is to beat Mahomes. We talk about all these guys that can't beat Mahomes. And then we literally will turn around and say, but Kirk Cousins.
But Kirk Cousins could.
Because you're fascinated with the name Kirk Cousins and the
No, I'm fascinated with watching him not do it.
It's what's around him, though. Like, if you put the place.
He had a great offense around him. And
but that's the Minnesota Vikings, though. The Minnesota Vikings, their defenses have been trash and all that. Their defense have been awful. You
put them in everybody says about bad quarterbacks.
Kirk Cousins not getting surrounded with
San Francisco's defense.
Some of these guys gotta go.
Defense ain't that good.
Some of these guys gotta go.
Average.
Some of them gonna be gone anyway if you bring in Kirk Cousins because you can afford all these guys because you're paying your quarterback $150,000.
I'd rather pay him $150,000 million and pay the one that's making peanuts, but can't get me to the thing we were just at 4 years ago, and why we try to upgrade from and are just in the same spot.
Okay, so then
about Kirk
we're in the same spot.
What about Justin Fields?
They just had Jimmy G. No,
exactly, and they try to upgrade and they failed. They failed miserably.
He cannot trade for Justin Fields, and he knows it. He cannot even entertain the Justin Fields conversation, and he knows it, because if he entertains the Fields conversation, he doubles down, or he admits that he's wrong. He was wrong about the Trey Lance thing, and now you lost a lot of draft capital to end up trading for the quarterback that you should have drafted in the first place. He's not going to do that. If he ain't put his pride to the side and go get an all-pro quarterback that can win him a Super Bowl, he damn sure ain't about to turn around and go and be like, go get the guy that he got 3 years ago.
I feel like the trading Trey Lance for a 5th round pick was kind of like, all right, yeah, guys, I messed up. This wasn't the dude.
Don't go back and go
that
get
was historically bad.
Don't go back and go get the guy that you should have got in that.
If it wins you a Super Bowl, yes, absolutely you do.
So are we okay? So we doing this? All right. Listen, I think this guy would thrive in San Francisco, but what are we doing here? We literally spent the first 40 minutes of the show praising how great Patrick Mahomes was,
and now we think Justin Fields taking
because
Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins are the guys that are going to be.
Justin Fields plays for the Bears.
Talking about
the Bears where quarterbacks go to die, right, Mo? That's where they go to die. The Niners did not get blown out. They lost in overtime on a touchdown. You don't need him to be leaps and bounds better. You need him to be a little bit better.
To make two plays. You need to make two plays that win you football games.
That Fields is better than Purdy. Do we know that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Most quarterbacks are better than Brock Purdy. It's just a fact. I don't know why we're not.
I don't think so. Brock Purdy had almost 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Here's the thing. Talent-wise, I get falling in love with the talent. Sometimes you know
all pros.
But you know what else? Sometimes
he did nothing. The offenses did nothing other than McCaffrey.
But we be so focused on how talented these dudes be. How about we focus sometimes on the production? He produced. He was top 5 in yards, top 3 in touchdowns, and first in QBR. He produced. Bro, this man could have been absolutely terrible and nobody would have cared. And instead, bro, he went to an NFC championship and then turns around and plays in a Super Bowl and plays good. He did not play bad.
I didn't know the 49ers were here to just, get to the Super Bowl and finish second place. I thought they were trying to win the Super Bowl. Because 4 years ago, they were in the same predicament. And guess where they're at? They're in the same spot.
That's Shanahan.
But if they run it back next year and win, then what? Like if they be back next year and win, then what?
Here to get to the Super Bowl, and hopefully we do good enough that we finish second.
You want me to be honest?
If that's what they want to be, then go Brock Purdy and be the same way for the next 2 years.
You know what everybody's thought process is in the NFC? I'm gonna tell you. Build a team to get to the Super Bowl, and then what you do is you hope you don't have to see 1-5. I just hope things shake out over there in the AFC. That's what NFC teams are doing. San Francisco was like, they knew they could get to the Super Bowl, and they was hoping they wouldn't land Kansas City. They was like, we'll play Miami. We'll run it back and play Baltimore. They kicked our teeth in. We need some revenge.
I truly believe they thought they could have won, but what set them back is that
you're gonna think you can win. I'm not saying they went into this game and was like, we're gonna lose because we don't have one tense.
But what set them back was Shanahan took the kick in overtime. One of the dumbest decisions in the history of the NFL. Like there is zero upside to taking the kick in overtime.
Yeah, there's coaching blunders too on his part, but
we know that. We know that.
But is their window even open like that? We're assuming they're going to be back. They may not get back. They got. I'm not assuming left tackle. I know their left tackle's 36 years old. Their tight end's always hurt.
I'm not. Green Bay's better.
Ayuk's a free agent, right? Isn't Ayuk a free agent?
Nah, I think he's extension.
Well, one of them is not going to be there long term. Debo and long term. Chase Young's gone.
And you know what they wasted? You know what they really wasted that we haven't talked about? Is they wasted a running back season. You don't get that many.
Exactly.
McCaffrey, more than likely, McCaffrey won't. More than likely, McCaffrey won't even play all of next year. That's just how it goes with the running backs. Like they wasted a running back year too.
Yeah, no, you're right, 100%. Because he looked tired and all, like, because other than the fumble, he probably wins Super Bowl MVP for the time Niners, right? Because he did everything for that team.
Yeah, Jennings would have won it.
No, McCaffrey.
Dude, he threw a touchdown and caught a touchdown. What are you talking about?
McCaffrey had 9 catches.
Everybody
for like
forgets
90 yards.
Yeah, but everybody forgets that a wide receiver threw that touchdown.
Jennings had more than just those 2 touchdowns. Like, he made a couple key catches. I think he did enough where I was
Jennings would have won it.
He might win Super Bowl MVP.
I think McCaffrey would have won it. I think, but it doesn't matter. Like, but McCaffrey was important. Like, but Jeff said it on the head. Like, there's no guarantee McCaffrey's.
Yeah,
he's getting up there in carries. He's getting up there in carries and years and all that. And he might not have the same magic he had this year. So it's like, this was it. This was your opportunity. 4 years ago, you were in this spot. We knew, okay, our quarterback position is the one position. We get it right. We will win a Super Bowl. We get back and guess, oh my God, we're in the same spot.
But at the same time, bro,
we're in the same spot.
That's fair.
At the same time, bro, like, it's them and every other team. They are them and every other team are questioning what they built because they fell short. The Ravens are looking themselves in the mirror.
But they have the team that could beat them because they literally were
the
play away, 2 plays away from beating them twice. Yeah. And but their quarterback was the reason why they didn't get it done.
But the Ravens have their franchise quarterback, and they're looking themselves in the mirror and going to figure out how they can improve to win that game, because they had a failure of a season. The Dolphins got all that talent, and they're still looking at where can we improve because what we did wasn't enough. The Buffalo Bills are looking themselves in the mirror with their franchise quarterback at Josh Allen, and like, we haven't done enough. We can't do enough. So, like, even if San Francisco, they're like, we made it to the Super Bowl, is it on Brock Purdy? Like, all these other guys that we're talking about are franchise quarterbacks for their teams, and we're expecting them to try and win a Super Bowl.
You're right.
Here too.
15 got everybody stressed out. That's what at the end of the day, 15 got everybody thinking, oh my God, we just blew it. Because 4 years ago, we were in the same spot.
The same thing about these other all-pro quarterbacks.
We haven't done enough to get over the hump because it's great. No, you're right.
Oh yeah, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you're miserable. Miserable. Like, you're like, this was it.
This was it.
Like, this was it.
If you're the Baltimore Ravens, you're like, oh, come on. At home, we couldn't get home.
Both of them were gifted the Chiefs at home, and they said the Chiefs, man, this is tough because he's never played on the road. They were gifted him at home. Bills don't get it done, but now we're like the way the Ravens were playing. Okay, Mahomes can win a road game, so I got more confidence in Kansas City now, and I think they'll beat Baltimore. But at the same time, Baltimore got them at home. They've been the better team all year, so you wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore wins. This is your opportunity. And, I said this every time everybody got eliminated. I said, man, for a lot of these dudes, this looked like their best opportunity. You may never get this same chance. It may never fall. Next time the Ravens could play in the AFC Championship, they could be there next year. But guess what? Now you're playing the Arrowhead. Like, it may not fall. Now, you was at home. Now you might be in Arrowhead. You're on the road in the AFC Championship game, or you get knocked out in the first.
I don't think it's guaranteed. I mean, the Chiefs are going to have a chance because of Mahomes, but I don't think it's guaranteed that they get back either. Just because, we watched them here. We watched them back into the playoffs this year, and just the division got so bad, and so many things. Burrow got hurt. Like, so many things happened that, like, they took advantage of that. But Chiefs didn't have a great year.
Yeah, but
he got into the party.
The guys, though, like, he got into the party and beat the guys.
Yeah, but let's say the Chargers are better next year. Let's say the Raiders are a little bit better, just a little bit.
But let's say the Chiefs are better next year. Like, let's say they're.
What I'm saying, I don't know if there's a guarantee that next year the Chiefs are better. I don't.
Of course, there's no guarantee, but you would have to think that scouting department, that GM is going to make. They've made really good moves up until now. They might go get themselves. They might trade for wide receiver out of Washington, like somebody with hands, like another reliable receiver to pair up with Travis Kelce if he does play. So if I'm betting on it, I'd be quicker to put money on KC being back than the Chargers being able to do anything, or especially the Raiders being able to do anything.
Yeah, like, it's just. Yeah, I'm just confident, and they're going to get better. And, like, I was listening to Adam Schefter talk earlier, and he was talking about how, like, the Chiefs' plan, basically, especially with their young wide receiver core, was like, this was going to be a rough patch year, and then we was going to bounce back next year because the weapons would be a year older and molded, and we would have that chemistry, and they end up winning a Super Bowl.
That's what's crazy about this is that
the feeling coming back with these guys, and they're like, we plan on being this good next year. Like,
the Chiefs accidentally won a Super Bowl. That's what's crazy about this.
And they're about to get some addition by subtraction by getting rid of Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, he gone, right?
Like, I gotta go, fellas.
All right, Rob. Yeah, definitely,
Rob.
Thank you for joining. We ain't gonna stay on here too much longer. I do want to talk about this Caleb Williams stuff, though. I do, in the Bears. So,
hey, Mo, one more thing before you go. Breaking news, big news. Larsa Pippen and Michael Jordan Jr. Whatever his name, Jeffrey Jordan broke up. I know Jeff was like really stressing about it this morning. That's why he was opening doors and waking up his kids and all that. That's why
Michael actually named him after me. It's we're pretty close.
So breaking news, they broke up. So
yeah, thanks for that, Chris. But no, I do want to talk about the Caleb Williams situation. So like me and my homeboy, so to paint like the type of conversation we was having, my homeboy was like, why not draft Caleb Williams and then move up from 9 to 2 or 3 or whatever it may be to get Marvin Harrison Jr.? And I said, why? Because the price it's going to cost you to move up from, let's say, 9 to 5. You'll probably have to give up your first round pick next year. Why move up to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. where at 9, if a wide receiver is what you want, you could get dude from Washington. You could get Malik Neighbors from LSU. Like, there's enough good receivers in this draft. Yeah. Like, I would justify taking Odunze at 9. That's cool, but why would I trade?
He's gonna be a giant.
Why would I give up any type of assets, even while drafting Caleb Williams when there's
would Washington want to move from 2 to 9 too? That's another thing too.
It's not necessarily Washington because even at 2, they'll probably take a quarterback. So like
they're taking Drake May at least.
They jump to whoever's not going to take a quarterback. The next team that would consider it, they got to get ahead of them. So that's what they would try and figure out. But I think Washington. So but with the Caleb Williams, like are the Bears? You're going to draft Caleb Williams, right? Like you have to, right?
I don't know.
Well, they have DJ Moore, so why would they need to get another wide receiver to trade up too? I don't.
I mean,
there's a lot of receivers in this class. No, isn't this like a rich wide receiver? So why would you trade up?
Trading up for what people think might be a generational wide receiver. Like you're pairing what people are trying to say is like Mahomes and the next Justin Jefferson together.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson was the 25th pick too, so like you could.
No, but I'm saying because he turned out to be so good. Like people think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to walk on the field and be.
He's special, yeah. But
and so they're thinking
wide receiver though, maybe a pass rusher. Maybe do like the Texans did last year.
My argument, I'm not
the Texans. The Texans did it right.
They did it right. Yeah.
Making that move, even because I'm like, even if your dad said on taking a wide receiver, that's cool. But I'm not moving up to take one in the draft. I'm not giving up any draft capital, especially in one that's
here's what
loaded. Like it's so loaded. You can take Odunze at 9, and I'm cool with that. Don't move up any type of assets.
There's 3 receivers you could get, maybe like that 9th pick that could maybe fall.
Receivers you can get a receiver, like you can get 100 in this draft. Yeah, here's my thing about Caleb Williams, and I've only watched him play, we'll say maybe 10 games in his college career. But like everybody tells me, like he's generational talent, you got to take him 1 and all that. That's cool. I'm not even saying people are wrong, but from what I saw, I never saw Williams look as good last year as CJ Stroud did the year before. So like, why should I think that Caleb Williams is just once in a lifetime talent when like he didn't even really look like the best quarterback his last year?
But it's because of Patrick Mahomes though. Jeff, that's why.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just because
what it is.
I think people just
draft their Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think people are just saying that he's that good, so everybody has to believe it. But I'm like, I don't know. I watched the game. Like, I don't see it.
I've never seen him play and be like, yo. Like he's had moments, but it was never like, oh my god, like
I can't be drafted
downright like the best player in this class. Like I never felt that. I just think because he's 6'1". Patrick Mahomes, 6'1".
I think it's because of the Mahomes thing.
They have the weird way they throw, and like they're not disciplined.
They got the arm
pocket, talent. I think people are like, oh, Patrick Mahomes, and guess what? We have to find a Patrick Mahomes because guess what? It's working for Kansas City, and this is what's going to be a problem with a lot of teams. They're going to try to do that, and it's going to backfire.
It's teams searching for the next Jordan, man. I watched it for a decade. People trying to they draft a guy that was built. I watched Harold Miner come in. He's the next Jordan.
James. People try to draft the next Kobe. How many next Kobe Bryants have we seen in the last few years?
A lot. And then you talk about, and then you say next Kobe's, and then you talk about next LeBron's, and you're like, it's like Ben Simmons and then Zion.
It's Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins.
That looks remote. Like if Caleb Williams had dreads and was dark skinned, they wouldn't be comparing him to. He's light skinned like Patrick Mahomes, and he plays similar in college to how Patrick Mahomes plays in the NFL. Now it doesn't result into high level winning. Right. But you could look at him, you could look at Lincoln Riley, like that's a different conversation. But still, it looks the part. He's a Madden great. Caleb Williams.
He doesn't look
Madden, and he's a kid's favorite. He's appealing. His game is appealing.
He'll be a fan favorite, yes.
But there's nothing about Caleb Williams that translates to playing in Chicago in December. Like nothing.
You know what it does translate to, though? There'll be a lot of whatever number he wear, number 5, number 1. It'll be a lot of number 1 with Williams on the back, though. There'll be a lot of money going into Chicago to go watch Caleb Williams, though.
Yeah, but that franchise is
worth. Can he play
$4 billion?
Can he play in November, December in cold weather in Lambeau Field?
I mean,
in Chicago.
I would say no. I told my homeboy, like, y'all got lucky, like USC got lucky that they wasn't in the Big Ten this year. Because he got exposed to having to play one of those. Go play Penn State on the road late October, early November.
They trash him.
Go play Michigan, Ohio State. At their crib.
Michigan would have ended his life. I mean that.
Big house at the end of November when it's 30 degrees and snow and coming off that lake, like you really see who really built like that, and people think it's sweet because they don't see it all the time and their teams will never play it. That's why I just throwing it out there. That's why I can't wait for this 12-team playoff, because we're going to get to see some of these teams that think it's so easy to play in the Big Ten late November, early December. They're going to have to play them boys in December and January, and you might have to go to their crib and actually see what it's like to play in that weather. And that's going to hurt some of them quarterbacks that's going to be superstar quarterbacks coming out, because you're going to play in that weather a lot of times depending on where you get drafted. And that's where that
I think the Chicago has put themselves, because of how Fields played good enough, the Chicago's in the perfect position. They got to trade Fields and get he's at the top of his trade value right now that he's been. And then you can draft Williams, and then you can draft another really good player. Whether it works out or not, like you said, Mo, you got 3 years to figure it out. You have to do that.
Yeah, and you
can't waste the trade value with Fields right now. You can't waste that, and not pay him. Like that's the thing.
They would have to, if you keep Fields, they got to pay him $200 million,
and you can't do that.
You can't do that. So you have to trade. You have to take.
And I'm not even saying that Fields ain't worth it, but he's also not a guy that's built for Chicago. Like that's a weird. That's a tough place to play, and you got to be like Fields goes to Atlanta. He's probably worth every penny. But
he fits there too. Justin Fields feels like an Atlanta Falcon.
But you put Fields in a dome, especially. I know that's what Jeff.
I'm saying.
He's a dome quarterback,
and that's most quarterbacks, by the way.
Yeah,
that's most quarterbacks.
It's the Kirk Cousins too. Like it's the same type of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. He's a dome guy. When you play for Chicago, your home games are like that harsh weather that everybody talk about having to go on the road and play against. That is your home environment.
Yep. It's always either even when it's warm, it's shitty and rainy.
When it's like cold, Randall Cunningham playing for Philly, then going to Minnesota and throwing bombs to Randall.
Even playing in Green Bay, you do have to be. I mean, and we've seen it. Like Favre was a type of special. Aaron Rodgers special, and Jordan Love is, right before our eyes, 4 years as a starter, appealing like he's about to turn into he's something special. And so, playing in that, because when that is your home game, everybody knows it's hard to win on the road in Lambeau in December. But that's your home environment. So not just
you don't want to do it 8 times a year.
Yeah, not just anybody. What if I got 3 home games in December and everybody talking about they're at the disadvantage on the road, but I'm like, I gotta play this too.
You're like, I don't want to be here either. That's why again, to go back to Mahomes, that's why he's so different, is that he seems like a dome quarterback, and yet he can step it up when it's 0.
Imagine him in the dome.
He's just a different cat, man. He's just a different cat. Don't let him go to Houston for a playoff game next year. He will put 70 up.
Yeah, like he's for Kansas City. Like it's like they got to deal with that weather and stuff too.
Yep.
But like,
wind
matter.
and
Like
rain. But Chicago's definitely they got to trade Fields. It's good for Fields. It's good for the team. It's a perfect situation.
It's good for the
league. I mean, they're the Bears.
I'm with you.
So
Take Williams and let him figure it out.
They can mess this up, but like this is if they're ever going to figure it out,
now's the time.
Now is that they have so many high level picks that it's like if we don't get this right, are we ever going to get it right?
Right.
So like
you can build a team right now.
You can build a good football team this year and then next year be a playoff team.
We just saw the Houston Texans do it in 1 year. We just
watched them do it in a year.
We saw the Kansas City Chiefs build a defense in a year.
It took 2 picks.
Get your shit together, Chicago.
2 foundational picks and then getting other good players, obviously, but 2 foundational picks to make it right. And listen, the Texans could fall fault. We've seen it before 1 year, but it looks like they got it right. Right?
They definitely got it right. They have their 2 most important positions.
Yep. You have the rookie of the years, all right? They both won rookie of the years in the position.
Yep.
So you have pieces that like everybody wants a left tackle, a quarterback, and a pass rusher. You got 2 of them. You know, and you got a pretty good left tackle.
We've seen teams.
And
we've seen teams like Pitt. We've seen teams like Pittsburgh screw it up. Like, why would you take Pickett? You literally Pickett and Harris. You just wasted 4 years of your.
The Giants
franchise.
have messed it up. We 6 years with Saquon, and it's like, we just ruined 6 years of this guy's prime, and now the next 2-3 years are going to be garbage because we can't figure out the quarterback position, the guard, the tackle. We messed up everything, and now we might have to rebuild again. So like teams messed it up. So that's what I'm saying. It is the Bears. They are susceptible to messing it up. So, but this is. If there's a time to make it right, it's this time. Do it the blueprint. The Texans show you the blueprint this year. Follow that blueprint, figure it out, and you could turn it around quick because the division is not like. I mean, we see the Lions, but the Lions they could take a step back. That wouldn't be shocking, So like you have an opportunity to maybe, take.
I'll tell you another thing.
I don't know.
I'm not sure that like I think that coming out next year, Quinn Ewers to me is a better NFL prospect than Caleb Williams is this year. I'm not buying it. I think Quinn Ewers is a plug and play NFL quarterback coming into next year.
Yeah. Okay.
I said the same thing about Stroud. This ain't got nothing to do with college. It's about what NFL teams want you to
starter ready. Sure, but he wouldn't have the ceiling. Like he'd probably be ready more day one to start, but he wouldn't have the ceiling. Like
there's nothing about Williams that makes me
depends where he
think
goes too. That's also important.
Yeah, but there's nothing about Williams that I have seen that I think he's going to hit his ceiling. Like this dude got blowed out by almost every decent team he played last year. Like, but that's got to mean something.
I mean, he also had like one of the worst defense. Like he played for a team that had one of the worst defense.
Yours?
No, Caleb Williams.
Oh, bro, Caleb. Ohio State's had bad defenses for a decade, and yet they'll lose like 1 game. Like you can overcome that.
Not that bad, Jeff.
But can I ask you something about quarterbacks, especially college quarterbacks? Because obviously, winning is the ultimate thing with a quarterback. But it seems like there's been quarterbacks we've seen have success in the NFL that Patrick Mahomes, to be a perfect example, didn't win football.
Well, winning matters in college, depending on where you're at. There's only 10 teams that it really matters. Like
so
Texas
that's what
Tech,
I'm saying. Like if Ewers goes, let's say they have a terrible season and because they go,
but they won't.
SEC now. No, but I'm just saying. Let's just say they go 5-7 or whatever, but he still has a good season. How do you evaluate? Do we be like, you know what?
Oh no, I would count it against him. I would count it if it's his.
Yeah, definitely. If he has a good season, they don't go 5-7. But like in the hypothetical, it does count against them. Like
Caleb Williams is out there running around backwards, throwing the ball behind his head.
In the
like
Pac-12.
He was part of the reason they lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like sometimes, man, when you just watch a guy and you just the few he can wow you, like, man, he just got it. Like it just seemed like he got it. It just seems
does he want to be an NFL player?
I think it's not even if he has. It's Jeff just said it. It's just does he want it because we see he's getting all these endorsements and all that, and like this is different. Like this is a different era of football now. Guys are coming in with money now. It's not like it was before, and like that hunger, like I want to get that first bag, so I got to ball out to be all pro, so I can get that $100 million. Now it's like guys are coming in, they're making more money than some of the guys on the team they're about to be on. So it's I
just want to make it known
that hunger
Caleb
from a
Williams,
player.
I think he has the hunger. I just want to make it known, like Caleb Williams 2 years ago won the Heisman. You know, this past season, like numbers wise, he played better this year than he did his Heisman year. So, like, statistically, he improved. He did get better. Like, dude want to be great. He didn't regress at all, especially statistically wise. He just did in the win-loss column.
Yeah, I just want to see him win a game that mattered. Just one.
Yeah,
listen, that Utah game last year
really
in the Pac-12 championship was his moment to show us, like, oh,
I
know he was hurt. I think
he's good, but what I'm saying is, I don't know if I think he's like lock solid generational.
If he could carry the Bears,
you know what?
I
would put him on the same plane as when Tua came out. Is when they're like, this guy's got it all, like whatever. And I think it's going to be kind of the same situation.
Bro, I don't think Caleb Williams is any better of a college quarterback than Justin Fields was. Like if we're being
most
honest,
quarterbacks aren't.
He's not really like he wasn't any better than Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is that, like, I don't think he's a lock solid take you to a Super Bowl for 10 years player like people are telling me.
Quinn Ewers should have came out, by the way. He should have came out because he would have been the third quarterback taken. He would have killed in the combine. And you know how quarterback. I think he would have killed him.
He's still going to be the number one pick.
But Quinn Ewers,
unless he wants to be number one next year. But like, if he came out,
you mean Ewers? Oh yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know why Ewers
top five.
He would have been number 2 quarterback. He would have jumped to number 2.
You know what? He would have jumped on pro day because Ewers would have been.
I think he's taking a risk coming back. I think
he would have looked like pause, but Ewers would have been the guy that every scout would have dropped their jaw in if he's slinging the ball in t-shirt and basketball shorts.
So why did he come out? Because you're taking too much risk coming back. You're going to the SEC. You're going to the SEC, and guess who's behind you? I don't care that he's a freshman and all that. The aura of the Manning is still there. Because guess what? There's no way they thought, oh, he's gonna be back up again. There's no way they thought this. So
I totally agree. I have no idea.
So why not come out? Because you're gifted, and that you would kill in the combine. And we know quarterbacks get because Penix, all these other guys. No, they're not.
And guess what, Chris? And I know we be touching on this a little bit, but so what? And in this draft, he's the white guy.
He looks the part.
The white guy. He probably Quinn Ewers, and then he played for Texas. He had the mullet, and then got the hair.
Washington would definitely think about him.
He pass ups Drake.
Chicago might have traded down to get him.
Quinn Ewers.
What are we doing here? Because now you're risking that you might be like a mid-round pick.
Dude, I don't know. I talked to AB about it this week. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't think that gets talked about enough. I think he gets praised. Oh, he's coming back. But I'm like, oh, that's a risk, bro. You go to SEC.
Maybe like part of him.
Can you do that versus Georgia and Alabama? I don't. And their schedule. I gotta look up their schedule.
I think part of that is
their schedule.
Well, he did beat Alabama this year, so
I think Texas got a tough little schedule next year. Like they don't have it easy.
Yeah, but it's one thing to beat Alabama, and then you have to play. You have to play Baylor State University next week.
I agree.
Hey, you beat Alabama, and then you got to go to Ole Miss, and then you got to go play Georgia.
We got to chill on how tough it is playing some of those teams.
I got news for you. Texas is probably the best team in the SEC this year.
But they probably get talent-wise, they are, but. They haven't played against these guys, so how do they actually play against?
I agree. No, I agree. It's a risk. I agree
against them. No, I seen them win by 10 in their crib and never.
I agree. I agree with what Ewers like. I don't really not. He don't have to explain it to me, but I don't understand it. I think this was like he could.
Everybody's praising. I'm like, wait a minute. Why did you come?
And he's young.
Like you're telling me, if Zach
he's a baby. He's like 20, right?
He's like 21 years old.
You're telling me if Zach Wilson in the combine threw one off the back of his leg from BYU.
Mitch Trubisky
from Texas comes and throws a back leg 70-yard bomb. The quarterback from Texas doesn't get buzz of going number 2 or maybe you should take him number 1. Like, what is he thinking? Like, he's one throw away from maybe being contemplated number 1 pick.
Got this new whatever he's doing now with his life. Like he says all the right stuff. He says everything that these old rich motherfuckers want to hear. Like he would have killed it. I don't get it.
All right. So their schedule next year is Colorado State. Then they got to go to Michigan.
Can't wait for that.
They're gonna low division 1 team. Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M to close out.
Oh, they going undefeated.
Man,
they going undefeated.
So maybe not as hard as I thought. I thought it'd be a lot harder, but
They going to the
11.
Oklahoma, Georgia, back to back is. I mean, to play
one
Oklahoma,
loss at most.
Oklahoma, then you got to go play Georgia. Is it at Georgia too? Let's see. Nah,
Yeah, but the Oklahoma game gonna be neutral. It's gonna be out here in Dallas. Like that game's still gonna be played.
No, I'm saying, but just to play, you got to play Oklahoma. Then
they'll be all right.
Yeah, they're gonna be fine.
It's not like you're playing
they're in the playoffs.
Oklahoma. You got to play Kansas.
Playing Oklahoma and Georgia back to back. If you play Oklahoma on the front end of that back to back, you ain't taking the beating on the back to back that it sound like. Now, if you had to play Georgia first and then play Oklahoma, I think if you lose to Georgia, I think you could lose to Oklahoma. But if you beat Oklahoma and then have to go play Georgia, like you still may lose to Georgia and you'd be like, well, yeah, it's a tough back-to-back, but Georgia just might be the better team. But I feel more confident playing like Georgia.
As long as he beats the dog shit out of Michigan, and none of it really matters. As long as he goes.
I'm just saying, I don't know why. I thought about, I'm like.
I don't, but I don't understand. I don't understand the Ewers thing. But again, he doesn't.
Too much. I think there's too much risk. But listen, if he has a great season, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, then it's all worth it. But I feel like there's a massive risk doing that when you could you're guaranteed going to be a top 5 pick because you go to combine, they're going to fall in love with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then it's just like the Arch Manning thing is a real thing.
Yeah.
Even if he's unproven, it's real though.
Oh, let him
have
lose
a bad
to Michigan.
game.
Let him lose
to Michigan and throw a couple pick sixes, and the fans won't turn on you quick. Yep. We saw media day. Who were they running to? Arch Manning. This guy has.
Hey, you know what? Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back to Ohio State next year to finish it out. We don't,
transfer
portal. I'm just saying.
Transfer portal.
Anything's possible these days, baby.
Man, we good on that. But hey, we gonna close it out, man. We gonna close it out. So this was the final overreaction Monday of the 2023-2024 NFL season. What better way to close it out than with
random? Jeff would love Dante DiVincenzo. I think that's a Jeff guy. Jeff, I don't know if you watch enough Knicks basketball, but Dante that would be a Jeff guy.
Okay, I'll check him out.
He's averaging like 28 points a game in like the last 10 games, and it's like you watch him play, you're like, how the hell is he doing this? And you can't miss. He's a Jeff guy. Whenever I see him, I'm like, that's a Jeff guy.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, so we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everybody. And on that note, we will catch y'all later on with some offseason, some draft stuff. We're going to have everything coming. So football don't stop. Spring games are coming on in the next month. College football, there's going to be
I'll be covering the Giants more this offseason. I'll be doing that for the network. So
so just make sure you tune in to everybody. But we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everybody for listening. We will catch y'all